Man, Maiocco here. Just awakened and on a Thursday, getting ready to do my hit on KBR in an hour, and then heading down to Santa Clara, of course, for practice. And if you pop on here, of course, tell me if you see me, because last time I tried one of these, or heard me, I think, last time I tried one of these live streams, it did not go well. So, um, just to bring you up to date on the 49ers injury situation, um, four guys did not practice on Wednesday. Charvarius Ward taking the personal day as he's mourning the loss of his nearly 2 year old daughter, Amani Joy. The service, according to Kyle Shanahan, is on Friday. I believe that's in Dallas. So I don't know that Charvarius Ward will be available for this game. And the 49ers are just saying, hey, do what you need to do, take your own time, and then handle this on your terms. Nicholas checks in. Hi, Nicholas. How you doing? Thanks for being the first comment here. But yeah, I'll also be taking. I have my reading glasses on, so I'll be able to see what you're asking and respond to some questions or comments. Chris Conley, hamstring, did not practice. Kevin Gibbons, groin, did not participate in practice yesterday, and I do believe that I think that's an issue. It's a core muscle injury. A train. How you doing? It's a core muscle injury, and I think it's a big reason why the 49ers did go out and acquire Khalil Davis in a trade from the Texans. Chris Conley, hamstring, did I say that? Trent Williams, his typical resting player, which is kind of funny because they just are coming off the bye week. So he has had plenty of rest, but hey, why mess with success? And then people who are limited in practice, Nick Bosa the hip, Feliciano with the knee, Gross Matos with the knee, McCaffrey Achilles, Moody ankle, Debo Samuel rib and oblique, Mitch Wishnowsky back, Renardo Green was a full participant with his ankle, Jordan Mason full participant with his shoulder, and D Winters concussion has been cleared out of the protocol. Charlie wants to know, when is Greenlaw expected back? He is now week to week, and talking to some guys, they see him out there on the practice field going through his rehab stuff, his physical therapy. So week to week basically means that anytime Monday rolls around or Wednesday rolls around, there is a chance that he could be designated for return. And speaking of designated for return, the 49ers do have 8 spots. Every team has 8 spots, players that are eligible who can come off of the injured reserve. In the old days, not to talk about the old days all that much, but in the old days, once you went on injured reserve, you were out for the season. You could not return the entire season. And so the NFL changed that rule, and now you can bring 8 players back off of injury lists, which is one thing that's kind of weird is um, Ricky Pearsall non-football injury that classifies as coming off the injury list. So the 5 guys whom the 49ers have now opened the window for, 5 guys are Clea Davis and Ricky Pearsall. They are back. And then McCaffrey, Feliciano, and Gross Matos. So that's 3, 4, 5. And then Dre Greenlaw, he's on PUP. At some point, he'll be back. Hufanga, I guess, kind of up in the air, but the anticipation is that he'll be back. So that would be 6 and 7. That leaves one more spot. So I don't think it'll be Ambry Thomas. It looks like he's healed up and he could be ready. But I don't know that he could break into that into the cornerback room at this point um, for a spot on the 53. And part of it is because he's in the final year of his contract. And I don't know that the 49ers would want to expose somebody like Darrell Luter to waivers at this point. Nicholas, what's your sense on the 49ers outlook for CMC once he returns? Is there a concern for Achilles rupture? Um, I don't know. I mean, is there a concern? I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury that kept him sidelined for quite some time. And they opened the window for him. He's feeling good. 49ers are optimistic about him coming back. But, I don't know if there can be concern because if a guy's cleared, a guy's cleared. And so we'll see what their role for him is. On the Instagram video I did yesterday, I basically said that, if he's back, he's back, and they use him. Now, do they use him 80% of the snaps? Probably not. But it's at the point now where the 49ers, their margin for error is very slim. So they have to go all out to win these games. And if that means maybe playing McCaffrey more than they anticipated, that might be fine. I would say that a lot of what McCaffrey's issues were in the past was just how much he worked on non-game days. His training, you've seen the videos of him training. And so if they can dial that back and get him kind of in check, I think he's a full go in the games as far as what they want to do. Okay, so a couple other questions. Seaward expecting to be there Sunday. There's no expectation with him. I would assume he won't be. I think the 49ers are going to roll with their starters being Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green, with Isaac Yadam coming in nickel situations and Lenore sliding inside to the slot. It's on Brock now. I almost think it's always been on Brock now. How does Mason's shoulder look? Asked Brian. He was a full go in practice, so he's fine. When that happened October 27th against the Cowboys, when he re-aggravated his shoulder, I really thought that this might keep him out for a game or two, but the bye week was very beneficial for him, and he's ready to go. Any chance Drake Jackson or Hargrave? Possibility. Not Drake Jackson, because the 49ers placed him on injured reserve before the season started and didn't designate him. He's out for the season. As far as Hargrave, the idea is that if the 49ers do make a deep postseason run, that he could be available. So that's the update on those two players. Again, thanks for joining me on this Instagram Live, and any questions, please put them out there for me. Is Guerrero and Mason a battle for number 2, or Mason firmly ahead? I would think that Mason is firmly ahead, and the reason I would say that as well is because he also has a pretty significant special teams value to the 49ers. So I would just think that, the way the 49ers have done it, Mason's been the starter from week 1. I don't think that's changing as far as where the pecking order is on the depth chart. And just remember, Jordan Mason has been around. This is his 3rd season with the team. Is Debo's injury likely to linger again this year? Debo's injuries with the rib and the oblique, he seems to be fine, limited in practice. He's played injured before. He's sucked it up. And so I don't know the lingering nature of it. I think every game is kind of a game upon itself, if it's aggravated or not. So that's one there have been guys who have had the obliques that heal up during the course of the season, as well as the rib injury as well. Thank you to everybody for watching this. And Joy P, great to see you live. Oh, I thought you mean great to see you. I thought you were going to be in Tampa. Anybody going to Tampa, by the way, to watch this game, 49ers and the Buccaneers? That's always one of those spots where we go to where there are tons of 49er fans in the stands before the game cheering their guys on. KP, love the content. Do you think this is a year to win it for the 49ers, or could they find a way to keep this going after this year as well? I think the 49ers are going to be contenders. I think that as long as they have this kind of steady influx of young players coming in, there will be natural attrition. But I think as long as Brock Purdy's around, the 49ers have made good roster decisions. And so I don't think that they'll fall off the cliff. Now, if you're asking, when is their best chance to win a Super Bowl? Clearly it was last year or in 2019. Whenever you have a lead in the Super Bowl, that is a great chance to win. And the fact that they let those get away from them, those were solid opportunities, obviously. But I don't think the 49ers are going to fall as long as Brock Purdy's around and they keep that kind of steady influx of young guys coming in, I don't think they're ever going to be a non-playoff contender. I'm sorry, just because some of the comments are, well, let me see if I can scroll down a little bit here. No, Charlie's going to be at the 45-yard line. Jordan asked, any concern about CMC? Yeah, I mean, there's got to be, but also if a guy is cleared, a guy is cleared. And that's one thing that Kyle Shanahan has said. It's like, if he's ready to go, if he's ready to go. If he's not, he's not. And right now, he appears ready to go. Um, A Train, should we expect to see Utor Gross Matos play this weekend, or will it be another week or two? I think he'll play, just because when I look at how the 49ers have operated in the past, they don't open a practice window for somebody unless they're fairly certain, not fairly certain, unless they're very certain that he would be available for that upcoming game. So I think he'll be able to play in this game. Let's see. Any thoughts on Purdy's increased number of turnovers this year? Um, yeah, I mean, I think you see, um, I think we've talked about that teams have made adjustments, and now it's on to the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, to make the adjustment back. But, I look at it just seems like offenses are by and large struggling more than they have, and passing games struggling more than they have in the past. Um, Patrick Mahomes' numbers, look at his numbers. They aren't real impressive. Um, with Baker Mayfield, he's having a good season, but he's thrown 9 interceptions in 9 games. Let me just take a look at this for a quick second. CJ Stroud obviously had a great rookie season. Let's see what he is this year. I kind of think it's probably not as good. And no, it's not. I mean, last year, he really took the NFL by storm. Um, I just kind of look at passer rating. I know people have issues with passer rating as a number, but it does kind of encapsulate the guy's stats. I mean, last year, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a 100 passer rating. This year, his passer rating is down almost 10 points to 91, 8 points, I guess, 91.9. Fam First 408, what's your concern about Greenlaw returning? I don't think I have any concern with him, because I remember speaking to him in the offseason. Excuse me. And one of the things that he said was that he wasn't on a timeline to return to action. He said that he would know when he knows. In other words, he wasn't going to push it as far as, boy, I wonder if I'm ready. Let's get out there. He said that he wasn't going to get on the field until he was feeling 100% certain about his physical condition. And the reason is because, well, there's, a business decision part of that. He is scheduled for unrestricted free agency at the end of the year, but also his goal was to get back to the Super Bowl and make the kind of impact that it looked like he was making in the first couple series of that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So his plan was to get back and to be in full strength and then contribute to a 49ers victory in the Super Bowl. And so there's a kind of a leap of faith that goes on there that the team will be able to do that, get back to the playoffs, basically without you. I think he'll be back. My guess would be maybe not next week, but the week after. That would be my guess. Will Feliciano get a shot to compete for starting center? I don't think so. I think the 49ers are happy with their offensive line right now. And you typically, once the season starts, there's no competition that happens unless it's forced by necessity. But right now, 49ers offense is the number 2 ranked offense in the NFL. So there's a lot that goes into playing that center position, and so much of it is experience within the system, making the line calls, having the continuity with the players around you. So no, I think the 49ers are set on the defensive line, but where Feliciano comes in is if there is an injury to any of those interior 3 offensive linemen. Are you going to Tampa Bay? Yes, I will be in Tampa Bay. What's your favorite stadium? My favorite stadium in the NFL. Let me quickly think about that. I don't know. I like Seattle. It's the stadiums. It's a tough question. What I kind of look at is would be like the whole experience. It's the walk to the stadium if I'm staying downtown. Um, there's not much around that stadium in Tampa Bay as far as, I do have to get in a car or whatever and go there. But I'd say, yeah, the downtown experience of Seattle is very cool. Um, Boy, I should have a better answer for you than that. Um, Chicago, no, not Chicago. I do like Minnesota. We were there earlier this season. Minnesota's a cool place. Green Bay, always like Green Bay just because of the atmosphere there and just how unique of an experience it is. Um, can you think of a player that came back from an Achilles and was just as explosive? Um, I mean, I probably can't. There haven't been too many guys. Richard Sherman came back off the Achilles and played well. In fact, I think he was like, a Pro Bowl or maybe even All Pro with the 49ers. But I think it was pretty clear he wasn't the same player. He was a better player the following year. Um, uh, Michael Crabtree had an Achilles, and wasn't he back that season? He had something in the offseason program. Yeah, I think that was 2013? Yeah, 2013. And no, he certainly didn't produce at a high level coming back. Played in 5 games in 2013, only caught the 19 passes. I will say that, advancements in technology and medicine um, probably make it better every year. Um, but yeah, no, there's no guarantees. Um, I don't know if you're talking. I mean, Greenlaw tore the Achilles and is coming off of surgery. With McCaffrey, it was inflammation in both Achilles that he sought treatment in Germany and got that calmed down. Um, yes, Navy said that the Baltimore Stadium is fired. Did I mention the Baltimore Stadium? I do like the Baltimore Stadium as well. Moody's status, G-Man Music wants to know. They released Anders Carlson off of the practice squad, which means it is the Jake Moody show. So Jake Moody is scheduled to be on the field kicking for the 49ers. KP Shahel wants to know, do you trust Purdy to make the play on 39 with the bull on the line? I don't see why not. I think everybody trusts Brock Purdy in any situation. Um, Steve-O, yeah, I probably won't ask him that question. I don't even know Mustafa. Okay, I get it. Like stop, like a stop at the line of scrimmage. Okay. And by the way, I know Jennifer Lee Chan had a sit-down interview with Malik Mustafa, so check that out. That should be up fairly soon. Probably be used a lot on the 49ers, on 49ers pregame live on our pregame show on Sunday. Um, yeah, tell Moody no more tackling. Well, would you rather have him make a tackle or give up a touchdown that loses a game? I guess that's the question. Spartan fan from the Bay or Spartan from the Bay. What day do the Foreigners fly out to Tampa? Generally, they fly on Fridays. Uh, Thursday, wish I knew this. I think Wednesday is their base offense. Uh, Thursday is red zone, or no, third downs. Friday is red zone, and then after practice, they for road games they get on the plane and they fly, unless it's a same time zone trip, and then they'll fly the day before the game. But generally, they fly on Fridays, and that's something that they've been doing for basically decades. Um, Bo Johnson, do you think it's only a matter of time before McCaffrey tears one of those Achilles? I couldn't say that. I would never want to predict someone getting injured. Um, Nevin, 12-21, Moody shouldn't be tackling because he should be hitting it through the end zone. Now, that I can agree with. Um, the problem is not always easier said than done, or how should I say it? it's easier said than done. And the later you get into a season, now the ball should be flying, I would think, in Tampa because of the weather, about 85 degrees. But as the season goes on, especially when they go to Green Bay and Buffalo, a little bit more difficult to knock the ball through the end zone. Um, Rammy Ram 84. It seems that whenever Kyle involves Kittle more in the pass game, they get great results and win. But Kittle's only run blocking they've lost, or well, it depends on what teams are doing defensively. And basically, for every play call, the defense is going to have a vulnerability. You can't cover everybody and put that kind of emphasis on it. So basically, the reads are there, and they're not going to be, trying to force the ball into. That was a question I asked Kyle Shanahan. I don't know if it was last year, year before, or whenever it was, but I said, are there times when you just want to throw the guy a pass regardless of whether he's covered or not, and basically predetermined. Now there are predetermined plays, say on screens or bubble screens or whatever, where you can almost assuredly get the person the ball. But my question was just, a 5-step drop, and you're throwing it to him regardless. And his answer was absolutely not. If the defense is there, if they roll the coverage toward one guy and he's not open, the ball should never go there. So there might be, every play there's a progression of, this guy is number one in the progression, but it's based on number one in the progression if this is the defense, if this is the coverage out there. So um, I've talked to players where there have been times where they believe, like going into a game, oh, this is going to be a big game for me, and it just doesn't work out. Other times where they think, well, I'm not really too involved in the game plan. I'm not the primary receiver on X number of, on a whole lot of plays, but it turns out that they do get a lot of action coming their way. So it's something that's very difficult to predict. Is Bosa still a good player as he was during his Defensive Player of the Year? Yeah, I think so. My guess is people would probably say that he's maybe a better all-around player. Um, the numbers, obviously, 18 and a half sacks that one year, 4.5 sacks through 8 games. So basically, half a sack a game, 1 sack every 2 games. So that would put him at what, 9 sacks? Let's just say 10 sacks. He's had, 3 straight years coming into this year: 15.5, 18.5, 10.5. So, um, obviously the sack numbers haven't been there, but I would think, yeah, I mean, the numbers have fallen off. I'm just looking at tackles for loss. They're all comparable. It's difficult to tell because what are defenses doing to him, or offenses doing to them, as far as the amount of energy, the devotion to blocking him up. So, I mean, he's still obviously one of the top players in the league, but I mean, he may never approach 18 and a half sacks again. Let's see here. Not sure this was asked, but do you think Kyle will finally be smart enough to run a three-headed monster for multiple obvious reasons? Probably not. No, I think that, I think a lot of it is hot hand driven, and there's not, a whole lot of rushing attempts to go around. I mean, I guess best case scenario, 49ers have, uh, 30 rushing attempts in a game. I don't think they're going to split it up, 10, 10, and 10. Bo Johnson, if the Friars lose the next 3 or 4 games, do you think they shut down McCaffrey for the rest of the season? Yeah, I would say so. If the 49ers fall out of contention, yeah, I would think that would probably be good. Um, Nicholas, hey Matt, do you have inside sources? If so, do you choose what you can report and what not to, and how do you make that decision? Um, that's a very nuanced question. Do I have inside sources? Yes, I have inside sources. Um, it's it's I mean, it depends on the topic. Generally speaking, anything I know, I tell you, and especially, well, if I know that it's 100% true, if I trust the source who's telling me something, I let you know. Um, Other times, if it's whatever too personal or whatever, um, I might not, I probably wouldn't report it unless it has something to do with uh, the team, um, impacting the team in a way. But that's kind of a broad question. There's a lot to that, but um, yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example of like all the stuff I was reporting about Brandon Ayuk and the trade possibilities, and the 49ers already having trades lined up with New England and the Cleveland Browns. Had that stuff nailed as far as, who the players would be coming to the 49ers. Um, I learned that information from a very good source um, and sources, and, certain members high up in the 49ers organization weren't real pleased that I was reporting stuff with that level of detail. Um, and so, but there was also the acknowledgement of, yeah, we realize, that's your job, but, just wish you hadn't. But that I can't let that influence like what I'm reporting, as long as I know I have it nailed as far as the sourcing and what the information is. Let's see here. Since the offense has no problem moving the ball, can they use CMC in red zone instead? Well, they definitely will be using him in the red zone. That's a huge part of what he does as far as just being able to run the ball, catch passes out of the backfield, both against zone and man coverage, and then also attract attention so that it opens things up for other guys. Um, let's see, who is the most annoying guy to share the press box with? I don't know if there is anybody too annoying. Let's see here. How do you get credentialed? You know what? That's a great question. There's, people who, well, in the old days, it was you work for an organization, and, you know, newspapers or, legitimate credentialed websites, and that's how you get credentialed. Now I think there's a lot of gray area on people on how the credentialing is handled. So I think how you get credentialed is a team by team decision. Some teams kind of adhere to that and will only credential um, individuals who work for um, media outlets that are known and recognized. Others are more open as far as, who they allow to get credentialed. Okay, I think we've probably come to the end. About 28 minutes here on this live stream. So I want to thank you all for showing up and contributing to this live stream. And we shall probably do another update later in the day. I don't know if there will be any significant injury news as far as any big activity, but I do think, like going back to what I said, with the windows, the practice windows opening this week for McCaffrey, Gross Matos, and Feliciano, I would say that all signs are pointing to those players being available to play in this game. So once again, thank you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a comment, a review, notifications, all of that. Oh, I should notice, or I should also remind you that this has been brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery, restaurant, beer garden in Moraga, California. Hit me up in those notes right now if you've ever been or if you want to go. Canyon Club Brewery in Moraga, family friendly atmosphere. You can bring your dog, hang out by the fire pit, whatever you want to do, or fire pits, I think. And coming soon to the Livery in Danville. So thank you very much. And we'll check back with you soon if I can figure out how to end this YouTube live.